The air hung crisp and cool, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth. Sunlight, fractured by the dense Himalayan canopy, dappled the worn wooden floor of the research outpost. In the center, cradled gently in Dr. Anya Sharma's hands, lay the subject of her tireless work, a baby red panda. Its fur, the color of burned cinnamon, was impossibly soft, a cloud against her palms. Its tiny black masked face, framed by fluffy, almost comical ears, peered up at her with wide, curious eyes. The bushy tail, a vibrant extension of its body, curled around its small form like a question mark. Anya felt a warmth spread through her, not just from the panda's surprisingly high body temperature, but from the overwhelming cuteness. This wasn't just a research subject. This was a tiny ambassador from a world disappearing. For months, Anya had dedicated herself to creating a hyper-realistic 3D model of the red panda, a project born from a desperate need to preserve these creatures' image for future generations. The model, now nearing completion, promised unprecedented detail. Each individual hair, perfectly rendered, the subtle nuances of its expression captured in breathtaking fidelity. But the digital artistry, though extraordinary, couldn't capture the weight of the tiny body in her hands, the soft tremor of its breath, or the quiet strength in its gaze. It couldn't replicate the profound connection she felt in this moment. The real thing was incomparably more moving. She gently stroked the panda's back, feeling the fine texture beneath her fingers. The tiny creature let out a soft whimper, a delicate sound that seemed to echo the fragility of its existence. Anya's heart ached. The deforestation, the loss of habitat, it all threatened to erase this wonder from the face of the earth. But as long as she could create this model, as long as she could bring this adorable creature to life in the virtual world, she felt a sense of hope, a responsibility to ensure that the image, at least, would not be lost. The work was relentless, the hours long, but this tiny ball of fur in her hands was her inspiration, a constant reminder of the beauty she was striving to preserve. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the snow-capped peaks, casting long shadows across the valley, Anya worked on the final adjustments to her model. She compared the digital image to the real thing, painstakingly tweaking the colors, adjusting the textures, until the virtual red panda was almost indistinguishable from the sleeping creature curled up in its basket. The scene was perfect. The hyper-realistic 3D model was ready, a testament to her dedication and a small victory in the fight to protect this endangered species. But as she gazed at both the real and the virtual panda, she realized that the digital replica, while breathtaking, lacked the soul, the inherent magic of the living creature. It was a perfect representation, but it was just that, a representation.